Welcome, fantasy lovers. You are on Highlighted Pages, the channel that extracts the best from books for your knowledge. If you are passionate about fantasy books and are looking for a list of the best books of all time, you are in the right place. So without wasting any more time, let's check out the best fantasy books of all time. Let's go. We know that it's almost impossible to choose just one favorite fantasy book. Most of the time, you need to contemplate the author's entire series to understand their ideals, characters, world building, and everything that encompasses the proposed fantasy. In this video, we will explore some of the most incredible works of the genre that have captured the imagination of readers of all ages and places. From magical worlds of fantastic creatures to epic adventures in distant lands, fantasy takes us to places we could never imagine. So get ready to embark on an unforgettable journey as we discover together the most incredible fantasy books ever written. Discworld by Terry Pratchett. To begin our journey into the fantastic universes of the genre, nothing better than a classic series that explores themes such as philosophy, science, politics, and religion. Created by Pratchett, Discworld. Set in a flat world that is supported by 4 giant elephants standing on the back of a giant turtle, Discworld is a parody of many elements of pop culture and real life. Each book in the series is a standalone story, but all take place in the same universe, featuring a diverse cast of peculiar characters including wizards, witches, vampires, trolls, and many others. Over the years, the series has gained many fans and become a classic of fantasy literature. With over 40 published books, including plenty of short stories, Discworld is a must-read for any genre lover looking for a unique and fun reading experience. The Shannara Saga by Terry Brooks. Another epic saga for the world of fantasy. Written by Terry Brooks, the series takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, where magic and the supernatural mix with a decaying technological world. The story follows the adventures of the Olmsford family, composed of descendants of Jarl Shannara, one of the last users of magic who fought against the evil that devastated the world centuries before. The story begins with She Olmsford, a young half-elf who discovers that he is the last direct descendant of Jarl Shannara and that he has an important role to play in the fight against the forces of evil that are rising again. Throughout the series, the descendants of the Olmsford family face various threats, from evil sorcerers to demonic creatures, as they seek to protect the world and keep magic alive. The series features a varied cast of characters, each with their own motivations and personal struggles. Certainly a must-read for fantasy fans looking for an engaging story full of exciting twists and turns. The Dark Tower by Stephen King. And here's another classic of the genre. The Dark Tower is a series written by Stephen King, which tells the story of Roland Descain, a lone gunslinger on a quest for the Dark Tower, a mystical place that is considered the center of all universes and the key to the salvation of the world. The series combines elements of fantasy, science fiction, horror, and westerns in an epic narrative that spans multiple worlds and times. In the first book, the gunslinger, Roland travels through the desert in search of the Man in Black, a villain who knows the location of the Dark Tower. On his journey, he joins forces with Jake Chambers, a boy who died in his own dimension and was transported to Roland's world. Together, they face various dangers and discover secrets about the universe around them. The series continues with 6 more books, each one deepening the story of Roland and his companions as they face ever greater obstacles in their quest for the Dark Tower. With memorable characters, a complex plot, and a vast and immersive universe, The Dark Tower is a masterpiece of fantasy literature and one of Stephen King's most acclaimed books. The Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, written by the legendary Ursula K. Le Guin, who passed away in 2018. The Wizard of Earthsea was published in 1968 and is still considered one of the best and most influential fantasy books ever written. This masterpiece, which inspired so many other great books of the genre, tells the story of G.E.D., a young wizard apprentice in a fantastic world called the Archipelago of Earthsea. With his arrogance and desire for power, G.E.D. ends up unleashing a terrible creature from the depths of the sea and thus begins his journey of self-discovery and redemption. G.E.D.'s story takes him through various places in Earthsea, where he meets other creatures and learns more about magic and himself. Through a compelling narrative full of symbolism, Le Guin explores deep themes such as the nature of magic, the importance of humility and friendship, and the eternal conflict between good and evil. With a universe rich in details, The Wizard of Earthsea is the first of a series of 6 volumes in total, and without a doubt, a must-read for all true fantasy fans. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Mistborn is the first book in the Mistborn trilogy. Written by the renowned and fantastic Brandon Sanderson, it is an epic fantasy set in a world ruled by a brutal and ruthless empire known as the Lord Ruler. At the center of the story is Vin, a young orphan with special magic abilities known as allomancy. The story follows the young Vin, who discovers that she has the magical ability to manipulate metals. She is recruited by a group of rebels led by the mysterious Kelsier, who plan to overthrow Lord Ruler and free the people from his rule. Vin is trained by Kelsier and his group, learning to control her magical abilities and participate in a complex political plot to overthrow the Lord Ruler. Meanwhile, she also tries to learn more about her past and her family. Mistborn is an exciting and action-packed story, with captivating characters in a richly constructed world. The magic in the book, based on metal manipulation, is unique and well explored throughout the story. In addition, the book presents surprising twists and a thrilling ending that sets the stage for the next books in the trilogy. It is certainly worth joining this journey. The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. This fantastic book series written by Marion Zimmer Bradley is certainly a favorite of many fantasy readers. Marion Zimmer retells the legend of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table through the female perspective. The story is told through the voices of 4 important women: Morgana, King Arthur's half-sister and priestess of Avalon; Gwenhwyfar, Arthur's queen; Vivienne, the Lady of the Lake and priestess of Avalon; and Igraine, Arthur's mother. Throughout the series, the characters are confronted with moral dilemmas and political issues that reflect the values and beliefs of the time. The plot is set in a period of transition in the history of Britain, where the ancient goddess-based religion was supplanted by Christianity. The series also explores the nature of magic and religion, as well as the role of women in society and religion. It's easy to see why this masterpiece is the favorite book of many readers. The Mists of Avalon is dense and complex, involving profound and important themes. However, Bradley presents an engaging narrative from start to finish that captures the reader's attention, inviting them to explore the rich layers of meaning that make up the story. The series is considered a classic of fantasy and a notable example of the importance of diversity of voices in literature. The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. Another well-developed and fantastic world. The Wheel of Time is a book series written by Robert Jordan, set in a fictional world known as the World of Dreams, and follows the journey of a group of characters during a time of great change, where the battle between light and dark is about to reach its climax. The plot revolves around the Wheel of Time, a central concept in the series' mythology, which represents the cycle of birth, life, and death that governs the existence of everything in the world. The story is full of typical fantasy elements, such as magic, mystical creatures, epic battles, and political intrigue. The book begins with the story of Rand al'Thor, a young man who lives in a small, peaceful village with his friends Matt and Perrin. However, Rand's life changes drastically when he discovers that he is the Dragon Reborn, a legendary figure who can change the course of history. The Wheel of Time is a masterpiece of fantasy literature, known for its depth and complexity, with rich mythology and well-developed characters. With 14 volumes, it is an epic story that will captivate readers from the first page. American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Here we have a great fantasy novel that blends mythological and cultural elements to create a unique and engaging story, written by none other than Neil Gaiman. The book follows Shadow, a former convict who finds himself caught up in a war between the ancient gods of mythologies and the new deities created by modern American society. Throughout the plot, Shadow travels across the United States alongside the mysterious Mr. Wednesday, one of the old gods who seek to unite his forces to confront the new gods and regain the power they once had in the past. The narrative is full of cultural and folkloric references, creating an atmosphere of mystery and suspense. In addition, American Gods explores deep themes, such as the nature of faith, the relationship between the past and the present, and the search for identity in a constantly changing world. With engaging writing and charismatic characters, the book, published in 2001, has become a classic of contemporary fantasy literature and recently had its own series on Amazon Prime, winning fans around the world. The Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. Known worldwide, The Chronicles of Narnia is a series of 7 fantasy books written by the legendary C.S. Lewis. The first book was published in 1955, and due to the magnitude of the work, it has always been a source of inspiration and reference for other great stories. The series is set in a fictional world called Narnia, a magical place filled with supernatural creatures and thrilling adventures. The first book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, begins with 4 siblings discovering a magical wardrobe that transports them to Narnia, where they meet a great lion named Aslan and become involved in a battle against the evil White Witch. The following books introduce new characters and exciting stories, including a young boy's journey to Narnia through a painting, the search for a lost prince, and the fight against a fierce dragon. The Chronicles of Narnia are loved by children and adults around the world for their rich imagination, captivating characters, and timeless themes such as the power of friendship, courage, and loyalty. They have their place reserved on the shelf of eternal classics and are certainly a must-read for fantasy lovers of all ages. The Black Company by Glenn Cook. The Black Company is an epic fantasy novel written by Glenn Cook and published in 1984. The book follows the story of the Black Company, a group of mercenaries hired to serve Lady, a mysterious figure who leads a rebellion against the powerful Dominator Empire. The story is told from the perspective of one of the company's members, named Croker, who serves as the physician and chronicler of the company. Throughout the narrative, the reader is introduced to complex and interesting characters, including Raven, a mysterious and enigmatic warrior, and Lady, the rebel leader who may have her own dark secrets. The book showcases a darker, more violent, and entirely realistic fantasy. It is also filled with epic battles, political intrigue, and surprising twists. Cook's masterpiece is dense and rich in detail, creating a convincing and engaging fantasy world. The Black Company is a classic of fantasy literature and has been influential to many authors in the genre. If you are a fan of epic fantasy stories, it is worth checking out this book. The Name of the Wind, Patrick Rothfuss. The Name of the Wind is the first book in the Kingkiller Chronicle trilogy written by Patrick Rothfuss. The story is told in the first person by Kvothe, a famous wizard and musician who lives in seclusion under a false name. The narrative is divided into 2 timelines: Kvothe's current life as an innkeeper and his youthful adventures. For the most part of the book, Kvothe recounts his experiences as an orphan on the streets of a dangerous city, his admission to the Arcanum University, where he learned magic, his life as an artist in a theater troupe, and his quest for revenge against the mysterious Chandrian, who killed his family. Kvothe is the kind of character that makes you fall in love with him right away. He is complex, intelligent, and stubborn, whose musical, magical, and combat skills make him an admirable hero. The plot is rich in details about the world it takes place in, including cultures, legends, magical creatures, and complex magic systems. Furthermore, it is full of mysteries and, of course, a good romance, all skillfully woven into an engaging narrative. If you haven't yet met Kvothe in the Kingkiller Chronicle, it is undoubtedly worth adding to your wish list. Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. This saga needs no introduction, does it? The epic 7-book series by British author J.K. Rowling is undoubtedly one of the greatest fantasies ever created. The story follows the adventures of a young orphan named Harry Potter, who discovers he is a wizard and is invited to attend Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. There, he makes loyal friends like Ron Weasley and Hermione Granger, and together they face dangerous challenges while trying to uncover the truth about Harry's past and the growing threat of the Dark Lord, Voldemort. Throughout the series, Harry and his friends learn to use magic as they battle forces of darkness and explore the mysteries of the magical world. They face mythical creatures, solve puzzles, and engage in epic battles, all while trying to keep the school safe and prevent Voldemort from regaining his power. In addition to its thrilling plot, the Harry Potter series is famous for its well-developed characters and its reflections on themes like friendship, loyalty, love, and courage. It is a series that has enchanted both young and old around the world, selling over 500 million copies, becoming a blockbuster film series, being nominated for 12 Oscars in total, and as we all know, is considered a modern classic of fantasy literature. The Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, and it would be impossible to talk about fantasy books without mentioning the legend writer, Tolkien, and the epic series The Lord of the Rings. Written between 1937 and 1949 and first published in 1954, The Lord of the Rings tells the story of Frodo Baggins, a hobbit who is tasked with a dangerous mission to destroy the One Ring, an evil relic that grants absolute power to whoever possesses it. Accompanied by a group of friends, Frodo embarks on a journey through the fictional world of Middle-earth, facing formidable enemies and overcoming incredible challenges. Throughout the story, the reader is introduced to rich mythology created by Tolkien, with diverse races such as elves, dwarves, orcs, ents, and other fantastic creatures. The plot is full of exciting battles, dangerous adventures, and captivating characters such as Gandalf, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. It is certainly worth making a video just to talk about Tolkien and the Lord of the Rings saga. It is a work that blends elements of fantasy, adventure, drama, and action with a depth and complexity that make it one of the greatest works of literature of the 20th century. Additionally, the classic series addresses themes such as courage, friendship, loyalty, sacrifice, and redemption, making it a timeless book with relevant messages for all generations. It also had its adaptation to the cinema, with Peter Jackson as director, winning 17 Oscars out of its 30 nominations, a record that no franchise has ever come close to achieving. If you still had any reservations about reading this divine work, we hope that they end now. In conclusion, it's difficult to choose just a few fantasy books as the best of all time, as there are so many incredible and unforgettable works in the genre. However, we hope to have provided a list of some of the main works that deserve to be read and appreciated. Fantasy is a genre that allows us to escape from reality and enter imaginary worlds full of adventure, magic, and unforgettable characters. It's a genre that inspires us to dream and believe that anything is possible. I hope that this list has inspired you to explore more fantasy books and discover new exciting and captivating stories. Remember that the magic of reading never dies, and that each book can take you to amazing places. So, pick up a book, open your mind, and let yourself be carried away by fantasy. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friend who loves great reads. And don't forget to leave in the comments which books you've read and which ones you plan to read soon. Thank you very much for watching until the end, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.